So, as you might have been heard, the media in the United States has constantly tell us that we need to stand up and fight back against evil. We need to stand up and protect our country from illegal aliens from entering our country, disrupting our peace and the entirety of our social structure. But let me tell you what the Bible talks about constantly in regards to this issue. Jesus specifically told in Matthew, stated in the Bible, that you shall not fight evil with evil. You shall not take an eye for an eye. You shall not go for retaliation. Let's do the Bible verse in Matthew 5:38. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Now, this has been a common saying for you to establish your righteousness in the world for what we live in. We do not fight evil with evil. We stand up to what is right, and we stand up to what is of God's will. Give to the one who begs for you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. And this was Jesus talking about how the world views conflict. If someone hates you, you should hate them back. But this is not what Jesus wants us to do. But I say to you, he says, continuing, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that they may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. So everyone under God's kingdom is the same, good or evil. Remember how we are filthy rags in the eyes of God no matter how much works we do? This is the same concept as we're talking about here. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? This is just saying that if you were to always be surrounded yourself with the community that you find to be closest and cherished with, how will you make an impact in the world who are different from you? Of course, it's okay to have a group of strong Christian connections to have that foundation. But it's also important to know that we have to seek out in the world to seek the people who need us the most. And those are the people who actively turn away from God. Do not even the tax collectors get through the same? And when they talk about tax collectors, they're talking about people who are usually seen as evildoers during that time. And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Perfect and forgiving and righteousness. That is how we must act when it comes down to the political system in the U.S. today. We must have a stance on being kind to our neighbors and being kind to our enemies. For we cannot fight fire with fire, as this is not a way to ever go down, as nobody would ever win, and it is just to suffice our temporary ego. So I please have this message to send to you to consider and to reflect on what Jesus taught us about hating our enemies and actually loving our enemies instead.